In this video, we're going to take a look at one of our self-testing techniques, and that's using flashcards. Now, flashcards is something that a lot of you will be familiar with, however, we may not have been using them in the right way. So with flashcards, you should be using them both ways, so testing yourself both using the question but also the answer. So when you see the answer, think about what is the question. These should be short and sharp. So there shouldn't be much information on either side, so you need to be selecting the most important information to go on each flashcard. So you either use topic checklists or the bold terms that are in revision guides or textbooks to help you identify those keywords. If there's complex things that you think you need to be testing yourself using the flashcards, then just use multiple cards, but we do not want too much information on them. And then you can use drawings to illustrate your answers as well, particularly if you want to test yourself on pieces of equipment, then this is a useful tool. Things that you could also do with the flashcards is ask yourself questions about those cards. So what else is this related to? See if you can link the different flashcards to one another. Think about why it's important and how you would apply the information. You could group the cards into themes, such as equations, practical pieces of equipment, conversions, etc. You could also create a mind map of the cards, explaining all the connections you see between the individual cards and also between those groups of cards. So in front of me I have a pile of flashcards that I've created for salts and neutralisation. So you can see I've got a decimetre cube to centimetre cube, so this is an example of how we could use flashcards for conversions. There are some definitions that we're going to look at, such as acids and strong acid. There are some equations that we're going to look at, such as concentration, but also thinking about our general chemical equations, such as acid to carbonate. And then also looking at pieces of equipment and how we can test ourselves on what the visual representations are. Now, these cards are quite small, but that's because flashcards don't need to be massive. So I've actually made these from one big index card that I've then cut into 4. On each side of the card, you don't need much information, so just a couple of words or a definition or an equation, so that when you're using these to test yourselves, they're nice and fast and sharp. Okay, so thinking then about how we actually use our flashcards, we want to put them all in together in a fairly random order so that we're testing ourselves out of sequence. And then when it comes to testing ourselves, we want to be sorting our cards into 2 piles, ones we know and ones we don't. So bases, they are soluble alkalis, they have a pH greater than 7. Yep, I knew that one, so that can go into my pile on the left. Acids, they have a pH less than 7. But I forgot about the releasing H+ ions, so I'm going to put that in my I don't know pile. So then we keep testing ourselves, sorting our cards out into piles that we know the definitions or words or equations for into one pile, and ones that we're getting wrong or we're not sure about or we're not getting a complete correct answer for into our unknown pile. So we're then left with 2 piles of cards. We have a pile of cards that we know and ones we don't know so well. And it's these ones that we don't know so well that we need to keep testing ourselves on more frequently and more regularly. We still want to do some testing with the ones that we know so that we keep that practice going over time. However, the ones that we really don't know, we need to be revisiting them a lot more frequently so that we become more fluent with these words, equations, definitions, and conversions.